Yay Media Group.
Welcome to My Safe Word is More with your hosts from Survivor and Amazing Race, Corinne Kaplan, stand-up comedian Al Jackson. I'm your producer, Chris Clark, and this is My Safe Word is More.
Yeah, you are. What's up, Chris Clark?
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, boys.
Hey, what's
Hi,
up, girl?
swimmers.
Hello.
Today we are recording, and I want to mention this because it's pertinent. Apparently, Chris says I should mention this. I think I'm the only person that doesn't really think it's that pertinent. But we bank episodes, which we're going to get to why we do that in our first story, actually, just by like a week or two. And today is the day before the election, which is 2 years before I thought the election was.
Yes. Well, I mean, look, it's better late than never.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're even updating me on election stuff, it's like watching you when I let go of the handlebars and I'm like, my girl's, she's grown up now.
Yeah. So I thought it'd be a fun throwback to explain that I once went to a party when whatever year it was, we were voting Obama into office. And I dated.
Do you know what years those were?
I don't. It was a while ago though.
Okay.
I feel like he was a handsome
2008?
guy. Well, so here's the
12?
thing. This is what I do know, and this is the only thing I know about the election. That election, so I dated a guy who was best friends with Mitt Romney's son, Josh. And Josh and his wife, Jen, would have us over, and I spent time at the Romney compound. And when everyone was voting, and I didn't know anything anyway, I was like, well, I'm voting for the guy that definitely knows my name.
Okay.
So I voted for Mitt, but I told everyone at this 90% black party
Yeah.
that I for sure voted for Obama. I didn't really care one way or the other, but I was like, how many times do you have to vote somebody in that like definitely knows your name? Like I stayed at his house. I read from the Book of Mormon with him at the top of his compound.
That was his electoral strategies to just like let everybody stay one night and be real cool with him. By the way, I don't want to break it to you, but every black person at that party, as soon as you walked away, were like, she voted for Mitt.
But I mean, also Mitt
you
was
see
also
that girl over there near the punch that voted for Mitt? The bathroom's right there.
He was also very good looking, and it's confusing for me when there are good looking options. But anyway, so I guess when this comes out, everyone's going to be happy or sad, depending on.
Well, that's one thing. Just aesthetically, that Kamala brought back, Obama had it.
Looks.
Romney had it. Even George Bush was Bill Clinton. They look like politicians. And I think a lot of the politicians now, especially the ones not running for like when you get to senators and Supreme Court.
Expired milk. Yeah.
Yes. I don't know how many members of the Supreme Court we have, but they don't add up to 110.
Yeah. Well, anyways, that's enough politics for today.
All
What
right.
I wanted to get to.
That's our political talk.
Yeah. So just
Somebody's
know,
going to write in, you lost me with your political shit.
Just know that I know that the election is tomorrow.
Did you know before I told you?
Yes.
Excellent.
What I didn't know, and I did Google on the way in because I figured we weren't going to talk about this today. I don't understand. Does Puerto Rico get to vote for our president? And
No.
when do we find out? Like,
No, I think they do.
Wait, Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
I thought they were a territory. They're not a state. Because
But
DC
they can
can't
vote for our
No, they're not a
president?
state, of course, but
But DC can't vote.
DC absolutely can vote.
I don't think they're a district.
I know, but they can vote.
They just don't have senators?
look at this.
I don't know.
Information nobody here knows.
Okay.
All
I'll
right,
tell you in my
so
final thoughts.
the reason we bank a few episodes right now is because I have to take this Fakakta cruise with my family
Yes.
over for my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. Now, I am thrilled to be spending their anniversary with them, and this has been a big buildup. But because of that, I'm going to be out for like a week and a half to 10 days. And the other reason, which is something I wanted to be sure to announce, I am going to be doing the last ever Great Love Debate with Brian Howie. If you have been a longtime listener, you know I've done these shows before. They're a really fun improv show where they get a panel of guests. It's super fun. They always sell out. He's ending the reign of this. It's been going for 11 years. And
the Ming Dynasty?
yeah, he's making enough money doing other things. He doesn't want to do this anymore. So the very last ever show is going to be in Boca Raton. And I'm staying 3 extra days in Florida so that I can do this. It's December 3rd. If you're going to be in the area and you are a swimmer, you know I would love to meet you. Please come to the show. I promise I will spend all kinds of time with you. Anyways, it's going to be a lot of fun. But nevertheless.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
Why don't you take it over?
The show?
Yes. Would he bequeath it to you? Or does it have to die with him?
There
Was it Excalibur?
There was talk of that at some point in time prior to COVID, but yeah, I don't know.
Just bring it up. You clearly know how to run it.
It would help if everybody that came was just a fan of mine. Like everyone's like, who's Brian? Who are the other 5 panelists? We're just here for Corinne.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, so in saying all this is that my father is obsessed with the fact that I have to do certain preparatory things for this cruise. And so...
Do you have a packing list?
Yes, I have to bring a selfie stick and fingernail clippers.
What?
No. It's a reference to 2 pods ago. So the big thing that he's got me for is that I have to get the flu and the COVID vaccine. So he texts me on Sunday, October 20th. He's like, it's time to get your flu and COVID shots before we get on the cruise ship.
Party time text.
So I'm like, yeah. I'll do that soon. And he says, the chances of getting COVID on this ship is very high. Ask your brother. And I'm like, dude, all right already with this. So I say to him, I'm going to get the flu vaccine. I don't know that I'm going to get the COVID vaccine because when I get them both at the same time, it's a terror. And I don't feel like COVID is that big of a threat anymore. And I just was like, so he's like, this is insanity. You have to get both. And I was like, I don't have to do anything because I don't live with you. So I was getting the flu vaccine. I go, I sit down, I get the flu vaccine. I sit there. She says to me, do you want COVID at the same time? I say, no, I don't. 2 days later, I go to a big gay warehouse party.
Is there any other kind of warehouse party?
I don't know of one.
Not in my world.
This was I was one of the only females at the party, just the way I like it. But it's like a very big party, hundreds of people. And there are lots of rooms, different things happening in the rooms. But one of the rooms, I call it a dark room because when I was in Colombia, I got exposed to what a dark room is. It's just people fucking, basically. I mean, it's not explicitly said. Like in Colombia, it says that like on the door, like this is a dark room, like enter at your own risk. But so there's a bunch of, it starts out like people are dancing real close. It's sweaty. It's hot. There's a fog machine going. And then people are just fucking. And I just want to say that when I threw the pre-party for this warehouse fuck party, I had the witch over, I had Jay over, and I had my friend Jessica over. And I said to them, I go, look, I feel like I have a fever. I'm feeling kind of sick. I'm going to ride through this. It's just the flu shot. I know that's what it is, right? That's what the flu shot does to me.
That could be plausible because I was like right there. The fact that you would mention to anybody that you were sick, that's not your MO, so you must have been feeling like shit.
Yes, and I did. I believe I took my temperature that day, and I had a temperature, and I was like, I just want you guys to know, like, I'm not at full force. Like, I'm going to drink through this. Like, it's going to be fine, but I don't feel good. So they're all at my house. I'm taking shots. I pop an Adderall. I'm like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I get to this party, and as it turns out...
You weren't feeling yourself in the fuck room?
I was in the fuck room for a while, and then Jess was like, it really smells like semen in here. And I was like...
I was going to say, what those warehouse parties... Visually, when you picture them, you're like, that's cool. You walk in and that low hum of the bass, and it takes you a second. You get used to it, but there is a low-level BO funk.
Yeah, she didn't like it.
1,500 people dancing.
So this was the second indication that something was wrong because I didn't smell anything.
Oh.
I was like, I don't smell anything. And she's like, it's a lot.
That was your COVID test.
Yeah. So cut to, I go home. I wake up the next day and I am now feeling like death. And I take a COVID test. And it turns out in a sex party, I was the one spreading disease.
Wow.
I went with full-blown COVID and exposed everyone. To my knowledge, none of my friends got it. But I just want to say that I didn't know if anyone here, I don't have a stance on whether you should get vaccinated or not. Clearly, I didn't, but I wish I had. But I went to the ER because I called my brother and I was like, what do I do? Like, I feel really lousy and I don't want this to be the thing for the next 10 days. He goes, you can go to urgent care and ask them to write you Paxlovid. So I do. I go to urgent care.
When you have COVID, Paxlovid.
Yeah.
Can you guys sponsor this, please, Paxlovid?
So I go to urgent care and they're like, do you want a COVID test? I said, no, I already took that. Give me Paxlovid. And they said, we can give it to you, but you don't have any high risk anything. Like you don't have asthma, you're not senior. And I said, okay, I don't really care. And they're like, it's going to be expensive because your insurance isn't going to cover it. And I'm like, don't you remember when people were like, the vaccine is free, everything's free, please just fucking do something about COVID. Also, your definition of expensive and mine are probably different. Is it $60 to cut my stint of COVID in half? I'll do it. He's like, it's not 60. And I was like, shut up and write the fucking prescription. Guess how much it is for a 5-day course of treatment?
How much?
$1,000.
Oof.
So guess who didn't get Paxlovid?
I was about to say, suck it up. Your insurance doesn't cover Paxlovid?
Apparently not. And I have high PPO good insurance through Aetna. So I was like, well, I guess I'll just go fuck myself. So I am now in recovery and I am not exposing any of you today. But I did just want to give that little tidbit of information.
I appreciate that. I was wondering if it was cost prohibitive because my mom, who's in her 70s, got COVID 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And she was like, we're on the phone with Dr. Coley from DBL. We love her. We love her on this pod. She's been on this pod. But Dr. Coley was like, she should take Paxlovid. My mom's at the doctor in South Carolina, and they're like they were with you. Oh, well, dude, you don't know. And my brother left it in the car. And it's like, give my mom, what are you talking about?
Why are we having this
what
conversation?
What are we doing here?
I don't know. So I felt awful for 10 days, and now I'm feeling better. But
did you call that nurse and be like, I see now. You were right.
Yeah. I wanted my copay back because I was like, nothing came of this visit. This was a complete waste of my time.
No, you didn't let anything come from the visit. She wanted something to come from it, a COVID shot. And you said no.
No. Oh, you mean the original. I thought you meant urgent care nurse. Yeah.
The first nurse, the one you want to talk to.
Right.
The second nurse is usually just doing triage and mop-up duty.
Problem is the I told you soing going down in the Kaplan family currently.
Oh,
you know? All right, but I have some dating updates, and I'm very anxious to get to those. So after this break, I'm going to tell you a couple of my own dating stories, and then we're going to get into a couple that I saw online that are can't miss stories.
Oh.
Okay, so let's get into it. I went out this weekend, and I was with a friend of mine who got very drunk. In fact, I watched the bartender 86 her.
Wow.
And then she turned to me and asked if I could get her a drink, and I was like, probably not. He knows we're here together. He just watched you.
What do you think? The bartender is a fucking moron and they have this elaborate system where she ordered it.
Yeah.
It's like a money laundering, but
and
for
I'm
drinks.
like, I am nobody's keeper. I don't give a shit. You can make a fool of yourself. You can get 86 at the bar. I don't care. It's not reflective of me.
It is.
Well, so I started talking to a guy at the bar that I ordinarily would not have given the time of day to. And he just was there.
Was he running cover for your elaborate drink hiding scheme?
Yeah. He was like, because my friend also spilled the entire contents of her purse on the dance floor. And it was obvious I needed a little help with my friend. So anyway, he stepped in and I was talking to him for a while. He was very funny. So I was just telling this story to Jay and my friend Bree yesterday. And I was like, he was really funny. He's smart. He has a good job. Like really nice guy. But
who was he there with?
He wasn't my type. He was there with a work friend of his who I actually liked. It was a girl. She was talking to some guy, so he was talking to me. And I said, but he wasn't my type. And Jay just looks at Bree and he goes, he was under 6 feet.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah. In fact, I asked him because I was concerned he was at least on the threshold. And I said, how tall are you? And he said 5'11". And I was like, But he was so nice and he was fun and funny. So I went to another bar with him.
Tell everybody listening, because they might not know. How tall are you?
Well, I present 5'11".
Yeah, well, how tall are you?
Technically?
Yes.
If we were going to measure me, like at the doctor's office.
Yes.
5'7".
Yes. And you have this ridiculous, you're not Angel fucking Reese.
Oh my God, I wish I was Angel Reese. That's amazing. Oh, that's what I got my goddaughter for her birthday, the Angel Reese jersey.
And she looked at you like you just handed her some clams.
Yeah. So, all right. So this guy and we have a good time. I pour my friend into an Uber and then he's like, do you want to get another drink? I said, sure. He goes, can I escort you home? And I was like, well, that's idiotic. I'm just going to get an Uber. He's like, I know, but I'd feel better if
he would like to spend more time with you.
Did.
This isn't a logistics thing.
So I said to him, I go, just so you know, why I don't know why anyone, especially when you're not tall and I just treat you like you're not tall. I was like, I live in $1 million home and there's a 60 by 48 portrait of myself and I'm definitely not fucking you. And he was like, yeah, okay, all those things are fine. I just want to make sure you get home all right. And so he comes back to my place and then he says to me, he goes, you're really beautiful. And I go, you're decent looking.
Oh my God.
And he's like, okay.
Oh my God.
I know. And then
what happened on his face? What did his face do?
You could see that it was like, I think that's the moment when he was like, I think maybe this girl has autism. You know, like it was just so obvious.
For me, that was podcast 3. Yeah.
It was so obvious that I was telling the truth. Like after I spit it out, I was like, I mean, you're handsome. And he's like, no, I got it. I'm average at best.
Well,
and so.
Oh, I was just going to say, you just made me think. Remember, old school listeners of our pod, when I did MTV Made, the kid had autism. And for the big final scene, he was going to knock on the door and greet his homecoming gate. And I was like, Jordan, do you know what you want to say to her? And he was like, yeah. Like, so much confidence. And so she opens the door, and he just, on MTV, when people used to watch MTV, he goes, good evening. You look relatively nice tonight.
That's exactly what I did.
Because he just thought relatively was like a big word, I think, or honest.
I don't know. And so I was like, when I'm not trying to impress somebody, I'm very cool. Like, I'm like extremely cool, I think. But when I like somebody, like, I'm gushing over them. They're so good looking. It's a bad look. Anyways, all of this is to say that I decided to give him a chance, and I'm going on a date with him this Thursday.
But you're going to be wearing one of those outbreak hazmat suits.
Here's the problem. I don't know what his name is.
Can I make you feel a little bit better? Dudes don't give a shit.
Okay.
I would not care.
Because
I told him, fine. Call me what you like.
I mean, I wasn't that nice to him in the first place, and he was like so kind. He doesn't live close by at all. He lives in a fucking godforsaken. Like, I've already made several complaints about this.
What area?
Almost to Colorado Springs.
Oh, wow.
So
is he in like Castle Pines?
He got a hotel so that he's Chris's face. He's staying in a hotel so that he can take me to dinner at this sushi place.
What?
And I don't know his fucking name, and I think it's a problem.
No, my question is, how can you figure out his name without him knowing? Like, what's the trick? What are you going to do?
Well, I'm
going to look at his credit card when he pays, because I'm definitely not paying.
That's like at the end of the dinner.
Well, it seems like he's a gentleman. So he might even go around the corner and pay before it even comes to the table. That's what a G does. Now, here's what I would do.
What?
I always, for me, I never know anybody's name. I have an issue with that. And so SAR knows to jump in.
Of course.
And I was in a wedding this weekend, but you're not going to have that. So you can bring him over here first and say, I got to drop off a wire at my podcast partner's house. And then he'll definitely come.
That's very convoluted.
And then I'll be like, hello, what is your name?
I mean, I'm so embarrassed because I'm sure that I asked him his name. And I almost remember a little bit of like the final bar we went to being like, oh, and he was like, this is how you pronounce my name, but you can pronounce it like this. And then I was like, no, tell me how to pronounce it. I'll pronounce it correctly. And
I just thought of.
So it's not like Josh, you know what I mean? It's like
the
a
best
name.
Way. Here's what you should do. When he gets there, you go, oh, I just got the phone, my friend. And I just realized that we're at the age we never learned cursive. Write your name in cursive, and can you do it?
Oh my God.
That's weird.
That's not weird. And see, they're like, oh, he got it.
You could do a driver's license thing. You could look at your drivers and be like pissed about your picture and be like, oh my God, I took the worst picture. Or if you like it, I took the best. And he'll say something and you'll go, let me see your picture.
Why would he do that after she's already called him mediocre?
Yeah.
Can I see some more forms of ID for me to gag on?
You guys, I feel like awkward about all this. But the reason that we're coming to this is because I matched with a guy. I have really like lately been really off the dating apps. Like I'm just like, everyone sucks. It's all just garbage. And I was like, let me get back on. You got to, one of my friends used to say, you got to be in it to win it. Like you got to commit to swiping. Because you just don't know. That person's out there.
Who was your friend? Rocky Balboa trainer?
No, I think Franny said.
you got to do this.
Got to commit to it. So I swiped on this guy that was good looking. He was 6'2". He had blue eyes, all his hair, nice teeth. And all I read was the first sentence of the bio. It said, Irish guy living in New York. So he's obviously not living here. He's just visiting. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. So we matched. But when we matched, I had to think of something to say to him, like on the, the opening line in Bumble.
Please tell me you tried an accent right off the bat.
That is something I would do. No. I read the rest of the bio because I was like, it'll give me like some inspiration.
You didn't read the rest of the bio?
Well, I did when we matched. In the beginning, I go for height and then whatever. He's 41. He works in law. So I read the rest of the bio. The bio says, my interests include the gym, soccer, finding new bars, and restaurants. Fine. Bland. Note, I was born with only 2 fingers on my left hand.
All right.
And I am not, look, I'm not, what do you call it, ableist, whatever, but I'm just like not at a point in my life where I've got to call my dad and be like, he's really great, but we're working with 7 digits.
But look, he's had them his whole life, so he might know some tricks with those. You know what I'm saying?
also don't know which two. Like, we're assuming it's the most important two. It could just be these guys.
Oh,
He could be
constantly throwing the white power symbol. He just walks around. This is not how I feel.
Yeah.
I love everyone.
And there are no pictures for me to go on. And so anyways, I'm giving no name guy a chance.
Over no fingers.
Right. If it had to be one or the other. Because you know what? God doesn't give with both hands.
That's right. You just get a throuple and you combine these two guys. You get the height from one, personality from other, 10 fingers on one guy, 7 backups. Yeah.
Anyways, I went to my 2 favorite Facebook groups, Are We Dating the Same Guy and Go Naked.
Wait. I thought of me and Sar were talking about you.
We thought of this guy's name.
We found an app for you. Do we need to go to break?
We do need to go to break, but you found an app for me?
Yes.
Oh, well, you can tell me after this.
Okay.
Okay, so what's this app that you think I should join?
Okay. Sar explained this app to me several times because at first I was like, what is this? But it is a restaurant. And basically, I wouldn't say they have their own Tinder, but what it is you sign up as single Coco on the app. And you're going to go to, I think it's 1 or 3 restaurants. And you tell the world, or anybody else is on this app, I have a reservation at 5:00. And other people that are in that orbit, if they want to go to dinner with you, they can match with you. So it's like, if you're a foodie.
Or they can just show up. You know how many people hate me in this world?
Well, that too.
Someone just show up and kill me for voting for Mitt Romney 18 years ago.
It's a risk, but what it's saying is like, if you're on this app, you're probably a foodie, so you have one thing in common. And, if you think this guy's cute and he's eating at 5:00 at the sushi place, and you're like, I'm free at 5:00, and then you go, hey, what's up? You guys could match, and then you guys could go to dinner.
Oh. I can't just show up, and if he's ugly, I leave, and nothing ever happened?
No, it's not an open casting call.
That's what it sounds
It's Tinder.
Okay.
Yeah. So what do you think about that?
Well, it's not Tinder. It's got to be called something. What's the app called? We could see if any swimmers are on it.
I know. It keeps trying to suck me into the... Okay, I'm not even going to... It's on the Carbaholic Instagram, and it's called Marble Dating, @Marble Dating.
All right. I'll join it.
And then #Marble Partner. So, yeah. So
Marble.
I want you to join Marble Dating.
Marble sounds like mixed race.
Oh, okay. There we go.
I'm into that. Marble dating definitely just sounds like mixed race.
I don't know how you got that. Nobody said my mom's from Nigeria, my dad's Ukrainian. I'm Marble. That's not a thing.
How you say marble.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into what made me feel better about my life this week, and I think it will make you feel better as well. So first, this happens on Are We Dating the Same Guy? Now, to remind you, these are both Facebook groups, but Are We Dating the Same Guy is normal-ish. Go Naked is not. Somehow, they both had stories this week on the same topic, and that topic is this. Looking for some advice. I have been talking to this guy, and I had him over the other night and was woken to my bed soaked in urine.
Yeah.
No remorse at all from the guy. What do I do? He is not taking it seriously. He thinks this is a joke. More details in comments. So I'm going to give you more details, but I first want to hear from both you and Chris. Have you ever wet the bed?
I have to admit I have when I was 2.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely not, never. And I used to kick it. But
yeah.
I will say this. I don't know how women are. Well, I do. I actually know one, but a lot of dudes be pissing. A lot of dudes. Yeah, I think guys that drink a lot of beer and get really fucked up, a lot of dudes be pissing to the point where I was shocked. Like my homegirls were like, yeah, this dude. I think...
I've never had it.
4 out of 10, I think, pissed the bed, which is insane.
Okay, so this brings up a really good point because what you said is a lot of beer drinking, right? Okay. So this woman elaborates a little bit more. It ruined my sheets and my expensive mattress cover completely. He never said sorry. He doesn't think he did anything wrong, and he told me it would likely happen again. He said, don't overpay for new sheets. And then she said, because there were a lot of questions, he was not drinking.
Oh.
What?
That's even... Okay, this has been a lifelong problem for homeboy, and I think you can do one or two things. My dad used to tell me when I was driving. We grew up in Northeast Ohio. Obviously, a lot of wintry conditions. He said when you start to spin out of control, you steer into the curve. That is what he's doing. He is steering into the curve because he's so defensive and embarrassed about it. He's gone 180 degrees, and he's just like, yo, all the cool kids do it.
Yeah.
And it's just insane, but what else is he gonna say? Like, let's get some rubber sheets together.
Well, okay. So believe it or not, so I service this out to like all of my girlfriends. I'm like, if you're feeling bad about yourself, at least nobody fucking ruined your sheets recently. By the way, ruined the mattress as well.
Well, I was about to say, she's
the sheets aren't the problem,
yeah,
in
wait
my
till
opinion.
you get to the headliner, which is the ring in your mattress. It's not a fucking tree down there.
Right. I mean, I will tell you, like, I am very good at handling my alcohol, but the worst thing I ever did, and no one was present but me, but I used to live in New York City. I had a studio apartment. My bed was there. On the left side of my bed was the air conditioning unit. On the right side of my bed was my trash can. I threw up into my air conditioning unit.
Oh.
Into it a lot. And I woke up in the morning and I realized I had confused the two sides of my bed in the darkness. And I called my mom.
And you confused your air conditioner.
Yeah.
It's like, what? This has never happened. There's not a setting for this.
And I called my mom and I was like, what, hypothetically speaking, would you do if you threw up in your air conditioning unit? And these are the kind that are like in the wall. Like, it's not, I can't.
Did she say blow the HVAC guy?
She was like, I guess get a tiny toothbrush. And I was like, I can't take it apart. So every time I turned on my air conditioning for 8 years, I just felt like vomit in my house. And I never made mention of it. I just acted like the building was old and these things happen.
Why didn't you just clean it?
There was no way to clean it.
Take the cover off.
No.
How do you think people get in there? What do you think? God put that there? Like, you can get in there.
No, I can't explain it. It was like cemented all around. Like, it wasn't like, it was like in the wall.
No, you got to spend the money and get a new air conditioner.
Yeah, I wasn't going to do that. And I wasn't going to rat myself out. So I just ignored it.
Yeah, she just blamed it. 2 black guys broke in and threw up in my air conditioning. They didn't take anything.
I mean, and that's actually when I stopped drinking Red Bull, because Red Bull had that effect on me.
I just always knew Red Bull was... I used to see people drinking Red Bull and vodka. I'd be like, you know that there's no way for this to end well.
I know.
It's like drinking schnapps all night or something.
Yeah.
What do you do? The drinkers are doing vodka because we're going all night.
I don't know. I've thrown up so many times, not so many, but enough times where I'm like, it comes out looking like a highlighter, and that can't be good.
No.
Anyways, that wasn't the only piss story this week on my 2 favorite apps. So now the other app, Go Naked, which is, I would like to remind everyone, it is for people in Louisiana, which we've already determined they are unschooling their children. They are fucked up. So this is what this person wrote in. I've been seeing this man for about a month, and he informed me last night that he has an overactive bladder and sometimes has accidents overnight. I asked him how his sleeping arrangements went with his ex. He said they just didn't sleep in the same bed. I don't know what to say or like ways to go about moving forward. Advice from anyone and everyone is welcome. We are in our 20s. I am not saying that I don't want to see him anymore. It took me by surprise, and I just want to figure this out. So many people wrote in, because I'm immediately like, throw the whole man out.
Right, with the mattress.
I'm not interested. This person writes in, they make underwear specifically for that on Amazon, smiley face.
Yes, they're called diapers.
You have to act like it's no big deal. Hey, babe, I bought these so you don't have to worry about it and we can still sleep together. Someone else chimes in, sort of like period panties. And then the author writes in, he wears a diaper but says it sometimes leaks. He's so nice, and I feel shallow saying, hey, yeah, this is a deal breaker because like medical issues happen.
And also, my vagina has slammed shut forever.
Vaginismus starts now.
That is that disgusting. Yeah.
I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but there's a world in which I don't have to date a man who pees. I can date a man with 10 fingers. He's just going to have to be 5'11", apparently.
Yeah, no, and for anybody that wants to give flack, I always like to give flack to those that give flack. Remember that everybody's allowed to advocate for themselves and speak up for how they feel. Remember that? I know they like to talk out of both sides of their mouth. But if you don't like something, you don't have to deal with it. And this isn't a little thing like, if you knew a dude that didn't like to fly, that would be a problem. But you can argue that most Americans maybe fly 3-4 times a year. You figure if make a road trip out of it. This is a third of your life. 8 hours every day. Plus airplanes. Oh God!
Oh my God!
Well, what do you think? His bladder knows where it is.
No.
It's like a dog. It's like this'll do.
Daylight savings is probably a mess for him. God
Oh.
forbid you go international. Now
Yeah.
he's wearing diapers during the day because his bladder doesn't know.
Yeah, you just wake up and he's in the middle of the aisle on a rubber sheet. Don't ask.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah, that's again. I don't like the whole like. It's no big deal. It's a big deal if you can't cook to me. Honestly, it's a big deal because you have to feed yourself 3 times a day. So obviously you don't cook, but any man coming into that sitch would be like, my girl doesn't cook. Move forward. But it's not something that you absolutely cannot control, and that is something where it'll constantly kind of, if you do make an arrangement where like he has a separate bed to sleep in. It's just as such because if you do,
That bed is disgusting, by the way.
absolutely
That bed has a tarp on it. What's happening on that bed?
Yeah, and then you got to clean the tarp. What do you think? It's a Major League Baseball field? Like 11 guys come get it?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, someone else wrote in that there's such a thing as a condom catheter, and I was like, how many people are experiencing this?
Oh my!
Why is everyone
You've
have
never
something?
dealt with a pisser?
Never,
Wow.
not ever.
Well, I was hanging out with friends, and one of my friends met a friend, and she came over. I think I told this story. The girl that came over with no shoes on, and
That's a good sign.
her and my friend. It was the story's deeper. They made sweet, sweet love, and she left the next morning, and he comes out, and he just goes, "Yo, that chick last night pissed in my bed," and she sent him a text that just said, "Sorry about your bed." But this dirtbag didn't even, she abbreviated it, so it's just SRRY ABTUR bed. It's
Yeah.
just like, yo, you are such a dirt, like, ah. But I think some people it's just cash. Like, yo, I left my toothbrush over there.
I have one girlfriend who will remain nameless, but she is an upstanding, very proper person. And there was an NBA player in town that she wanted to fuck. As I say, she was very proper.
Right.
And
No G League players.
she called me and she goes, I really want to see him, but I have this like horrible cold. I was like, bitch, take a bunch of cold med. Like, you're fine. So she stayed at his hotel, but she was really like, she's somebody that like does not do any kind of drugs or anything. She just drank a ton and she was on a lot of cold medicine. And he said he woke up in the middle of the night and she was peeing in the waste piece paper basket,
Right.
by the desk in the hotel room. And he just let her do it.
Yeah.
And then in the morning told her, and she was beyond horrified. She didn't piss the bed. She got up.
That's the other thing. I know people that have had boyfriends that piss in drawers a lot. And 2 of my homeboys that played Division I football, when they were on a recruiting trip their senior year, one of my homeboys got really fucked up there. And he said he woke up and my homeboy that was really fucked up, he said he was peeing into a plant at this frat house. And he was like, blank, what the F are you doing? And he goes, leave me alone. I'm in this sorority. You stay in your sorority over there. And he was like, what are you talking? But just like, I think people just have... They're on autopilot.
Back to the case at hand. The first guy I talked about was not drunk. I don't think the second guy is either. I don't think it's a drinking thing.
Okay, now we're doing all the work here. Shouldn't they have some solutions?
Yeah, exactly.
3 decades into life?
Right.
Because we have some jokes, but I bet you 2 fingers can do a lot.
Yeah.
Because if you
basketball?
Honestly, if you have something going on with your body and you've lived with it your whole life, not only do you have workarounds, sometimes they become like a strength. So maybe that guy's legit, but like these guys have put in no effort. They're just like, yeah, I guess we're going to be on the mattress a month plan.
Chris, what do you have to say? Give me your final thoughts.
I don't know what we're talking about here. I just want to apologize to all of the people out there that have bladder control problems, all the people that are lacking.
You know what?
Digits.
We're talking directly to every man in Louisiana, apparently.
Well, I'm sorry for everything we've said here today.
Yes.
No, if you get drunk and pee the bed, that's on you, dog.
Yeah. I think it's how you handle it afterwards, maybe.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway,
waterproof
whatever.
Roses.
Here's what I want to say. DC residents can vote for president, but Puerto Ricans can't.
Well, we learned something today.
Yeah,
The more
and
you know.
Listen, election tomorrow. I hope you all voted. If you didn't, then whatever happened is your effing fault.
Okay, there you have it.
That was well said. And we need somebody to take over the Rock the Vote since Puffy's.
It's vote or die. Yeah.
Puffy's.
He's busy.
He's busy.
Yeah.
For a while. So with that.
Oh, can I just give you one quick thing? I know we're out of time, but years ago, I was friendly with Diddy. He never did anything to me. But years ago, I went with him to Vegas to promote this terrible EDM song he had. And it was just, the words were just, let's get up and let's get ill. Your dreams will now be fulfilled. And I forgot about it. And I was at my best friend Matt's in LA. And I was like, you don't know this song? It's not on Spotify. It's so hard to find. Google it. It's the worst song ever written. But when I was sick with COVID, because I just talked about this with Matt, every morning I was like, let's get up and let's get ill. Your dreams are about to be fulfilled. So I want to leave you on a positive note.
Yes, well, let's leave the people with this. Guys, we appreciate you tuning in. And we know that you don't tune in just because it's a podcast about life.
It's a podcast about being a super spreader at a gay sex warehouse party.
Spreader.
Mm-hmm.